What's up guys, I'm reviewing the T34 and seeing if this old American tier 8 heavy is still worth it. Hit points for the T34 are pretty good, sitting at 1,820. Armor is very good. Well, the turret armor. Everyone will pin your hull, but the turret is where it's at. We'll go over the armor more in Armor Inspector. The V-range is alright, sitting at 268.6. Even though it's not your main role, you can spot the enemies for your team. Concealment seems okay for a heavy tank. Damage per minute is decent at 1,978. The reload time is at 12.13 seconds. Penetration is good. You won't really struggle that much against the higher tiers. The AP is at 248, APCR 279, and AG 60. Average damage is what you would expect from a tier 8. The AP is at 400, APCR 340, and HE 515. Aiming time is on the longer side though at 6.1 seconds. That's really a downside. And dispersion is about average at 0.317. Gun elevation and depression are good, with elevation at 15 and depression at 10 degrees. The speed is decent. Nothing special with the top speed going forward at 38, in reverse 12, and an average speed of 27. Turn rates are okay, with the turret at 21.87 and the hull at 33.34 degrees a second. The terrain crossing capacity and engine power look alright for the T34. I'll flash everything I use on the screen. You could copy it or use it as an example. That's just how I personally like to use this tank. I can't find the credit coefficient. I don't know if they stopped tracking it or if I'm just blind. If you know it, please leave it in the comments below so we can figure it out. However, it does seem to make a good amount of credits for you. This is the perspective of another T34. As you can see, the hull has 0 armor. Basically everyone will pin you, but you may get a lucky bounce here and there. Also, the roof and cupola can be pinned. Say you're in a hull down position without using any gun depression. One way to counter this is to put your barrel up, wiggle it left to right to cause a bounce. Be careful of not wiggling too far, as your cheeks will become easier to pin. Now, hull down using 10 degrees of gun depression, everyone will struggle and probably switch over to premium ammo to try and pin you. You still got the cupola at the top, but it is a very small target. If you really want to side scrape in this, which you really can't, you can only go out at the slightest of angles. Even then, there is still a small chance they'll pin your sides. Also, watch out for that turret cheek. You'll have to angle that as well. And everyone will pin your sides and rear. How would you play the T34, and what are some tactics you could use to play it effectively? You mainly want to play the T34 as a frontline haul down tank. If you're able to get it into a good haul down position, you'll be a nightmare to the enemy team. Some tactics I would use are peekaboo. It's pretty effective. Trading you can and will do as a heavy tank. 1v1s and brawling will happen. Know what tank you're going up against and if you'll be able to take them out. Sniping you can do if the opportunity presents itself. Haul down is the main way you want to play this tank, whether that's on a hill or behind some rubble. Side scraping, this tank is not made for it. However, I have been able to, depending on the situation and the opponent. Face hugging, again, this tank really isn't made for it, but if you have to do it, make sure you'll be able to take out the enemy. The battle is constantly changing. You may have to spy for your team because your lights and meds don't know what they're doing, or start brawling because the enemy decides to YOLO you. Use some common sense and keep your situational awareness. If you think I left anything important out, please leave it in the comments below for others to learn. Now let's get into the replays. This battle really highlights slowing down and having situational awareness. For this battle, we're going to push this left side and go towards the center of town. I'm really trying to get into a position to where I can ambush their heavy tanks. And the Action X is spotted. I'm going to go ahead and get a shot into him, and as I'm backing up, I take a pretty nasty hit from over on the A side. That shot actually gave me some pretty good information. It did about 500 damage and also had an HE splash effect. And for a second, I thought it was the TS5 or the ISU. I mean, it could have been the TS5, as you will see later in the video. However, I genuinely believe it's the Conqueror, because you will also see that he decided to flank all the way around to try to get behind us. But we know there is most likely a heavy tank over on the A side. I decide if my camo isn't reset by now, I'm willing to take another hit to get across the street. street. I see if I could get shots on the ISU, however, I don't think he's getting out of cover anytime soon. The Skoda comes flying up, stops, and then decides to keep pushing our SU, so I get another shot into him and our SU takes him out. The other Skoda is on our flank and the Action X is on low hit points, so I'm going to push up and help our team focus the Action X. We get a shot into him and I take a very quick second to see our surroundings. The ISU is being more aggressive, however he just got punished for that. The Nemesis has been spotted at base B and we got the Skoda pushing up on our WZ. I decide to try to save the WZ. As I'm pulling up, I get a very nice 500 damage high roll into the Skoda and he is lowered down to a one shot from our team and the T34 takes him out. I keep moving up towards base B to see if I could respot the Nemesis and get some shots into him. He is spotted still at base B and we are going to slowly move our way up and end up trading with him. This is my first time ever going up against the Nemesis. I don't know anything about the armor, the damage per minute, nothing. I don't really want to get into a 1v1 with him because I don't know the tank. We have that Conqueror pushing up on our flank, so I decide to refocus my attention towards him and get into somewhat of a side scraping position to get out and get some shots into him. I'm also keeping my eye on the Nemesis when the Conqueror decides to rush in, bounce a shot off my tracks, and go flying past me. The Nori, however you pronounce that, gets a shot into him and I spin around and finish off the Conqueror. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've seen the TS5 this entire battle and he's just sitting over at base A, not helping out his team. I mean, it's one thing to be getting consistent shots in on the enemy, but I don't even think he's been doing that. But we're going to keep going forward and push down here and hopefully get one more shot into the Nemesis. Our team ends up lowering him down to a one shot for us and we end up taking him out of the game. All that's left is the TS5 and it's basically just going to be a race to see how much more damage you could get. Which I believe we get one more shot off into him and that WZ we saved earlier in the battle ends up taking him out. Like at the start, I feel like this battle really highlights situational awareness and just slowing down and being aware of your surroundings, the minimap, and what's going on around you. Because just doing that could very heavily influence how the battle goes. Like that WZ could have been taken out by the Skoda if we hadn't gotten a shot in on him. We get 3,451 damage, the first class, a decent amount of credits, and top on the leaderboard for that battle. For this next battle, I feel like it really highlights, again, situational awareness and working off my team. As you will see at the start of this battle, I feel like my team didn't really know where they were going, so they all just kind of went around base B. I went more towards base A, but in between base A and B. The IS-6 is spotted, so I'm just going to set up my gun into a little ambush and wait for him to get out and get my shot off into him. And right when I thought he decided not to keep going forward, he pulls out, of course. We get our shot into him and he ends up bouncing us, which is pretty surprising. However, we are stopped by the wall and the turtle is able to get a shot into us, but we are able to recover and get behind cover. Our SDP-60 is pushing up on the IS-6 and he has the sniper support of the RHM if the IS-6 really decides to rush him. So I believe they have the situation handled, so I'm going to pull out and get a shot into the turtle. If you haven't noticed yet, the IS-6 decided to push over to base A all by himself without the support of his team. The rest of his team pushed over by base C. I'm going to keep focusing the turtle while helping our K91 and the object. Of course, I only end up tracking him, but it briefly makes it easier for them to get their shot. I check on the T49 and the SDP-60. The T49 is a one-shot, but hopefully they capture base A. Unfortunately, they do not. But we get another shot into the turtle and our team takes him out. I'm watching that Jagdtiger at the top of the screen, but I also noticed that the Progetto heavy tank is pushing our RHM. However, the Jagdtiger I feel like is the bigger threat, because if you get somebody who really knows how to play the Jagdtiger, your team can be screwed. But looking back on it now, I don't think it was this guy. We get another shot into that Jagdtiger, back up into cover, and I do feel genuinely bad about the RHM. But right now, he is buying us valuable time to take out this Jagdtiger. He probably doesn't see it as that, but I see it as that. We get a nice 500 high roll into the Jagdtiger and our team takes him out. The convoy is moving pretty quick towards our RHM and the Progetto. Both of the enemy mediums are just above base B and our RHM just got taken out. So I'm going to go ahead and focus that Progetto, at least lower him down to a one shot. I go into sniper mode and just try to be ready to get the shot off and not expose my hull too much. And we get a shot into him, lowering him down to that one shot, and he does bounce us in return. I get into cover over and just kind of see the situation of the battle, and the Conway just takes out our K91. Usually I go for low HP tanks first to just get a gun out of the game. I decide to ignore the Progetto, but luckily our T49 ends up taking him out because I really wanted to get shots off on the medium tanks to support our team. They take out the Defender and I track the Centurion, so they should be able to take him out. All that's left is the Conway, and I have enough hit points to bleed them at the end of the battle, so I decided to rush the Conway and just face hug him and get all of his attention on me so I could get some damage off and allow my team to move up on him. Now, is this old tier 8 American heavy tank still worth it in today's World of Tanks Blitz? Yes, 1000%. It's old reliable. This is one of my favorite tanks. I feel like the playstyle just fits perfectly to how I like playing it, and 9 times out of 10 I would choose this over other tier 8 heavy tanks. Also, this could handle tier 9s comfortably and reliably. But I'll ask you the question though. Do you think this old American tier 8 heavy tank, the T34, is worth playing in today's World of Tanks Blitz? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, check this one out. You'll like it too.